Hey there, Brandon Spilley here from Triceps.com, and today we're going to have an exercise called the Swiss bar pin press. All right, for this exercise, what you're going to need is a Swiss bar or a neutral grip based bar and a rack or something that you can use with a pin-based system that you can adjust so that you can actually do a normal pin press. So I've got my rod and pipe system set up here in my rack, and I got my Swiss bar in here. You want to start with the barbell on the rack, hands over enough. A pin press comes from the rack. You're not going to unrack it and take it into the pins. Completely different exercise. I'll talk about why here later. So once I've got this set up in the rack, then all I do is get in my normal bench press position. And the nice thing is about pin presses, you can move the bar out of the way to get in position. And then from a pin press position, you're gonna pick the handles that work best for you. For me, that's usually the middle ones. And then I'm gonna get in my bench press position. I've noticed I've got those pins set up pretty close towards my chest. And I'm gonna take a big breath in. Elbows are tucked in by my side. Again, I'm not flaring out here. Push myself against the pad, bar's gonna come up and then back down. So I'm gonna let it come to a complete stop every single rep, and then I'm good to go. So I still want to, again, make sure my elbows are in, feet drive and leg drive is there. I've still got my hips on the pad, and I'm gonna just perform a normal press here from that position. When I'm done, I can just slide it out of the way. Now, the reason you would want to do a pin press is gonna work on starting strength from wherever you set the pin. So, if you want to get as close as you can to your chest, especially that's where you're having issues, but you could focus on particular different areas. The Swiss bar is great. One, it's really shoulder friendly. Adding the pins in makes it even more shoulder friendly because you're going to probably reduce some range of motion because you're probably not going to be able to get it through actually touch your chest, but you'll be relatively close. But you can also just focus on your lockout. You can move this up a couple of notches and focus on just the tricep strength alone and not have to worry about so much of the actual pressing from the chest and what have you. So this exercise works great for people like that. Now, I like using this as a main movement for most people to attack and address issues that they have with their bench press, namely starting strength, especially using the triceps and keeping everything stacked. It's a great exercise for this. But overall, it could also be a supplemental movement or a way to improve your bench press after you've done your main bench press work as well. So the main difference is your main movement, then you're obviously gonna do hard sets of probably like 1 to 3. With pin presses, I usually recommend keeping reps on the lower end, that way you can actually develop that starting strength. Because if the weight is too light, you aren't gonna have to develop that starting strength as much, where if the weight gets heavier, you are gonna have to actually address that. You have to put in a lot of effort to get the bar just to break the pins alone. Now with the supplemental side, I still recommend doing these on the heavier side, maybe sets of 3 to 5, but I think doing these for really high reps is really not where you're gonna see your bang for your buck from this exercise. Now, the other thing I'll say here too is that when you're doing this movement, starting from the pins, as I mentioned, is different than lowering because we're taking the eccentric loading out of the exercise, and that's a big key thing here from pins because it's a concentric only exercise. We're not getting that lowering phase where we're actually going to absorb the force from the exercise and then use that to our advantage with the stress shortening cycle. The whole point of this exercise is to eliminate that. So start on the pins to see your biggest return on investment. Yes, you're not going to be able to do as much, especially with a Swiss bar and the pin press. I would not be surprised if the top single that you get is between 80 and 90% of your best bench press, depending upon where you have your pin set and what have you. But again, it's a great way to develop your upper body strength to help aid your bench press. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks. Have a great day.